Okay, the meeting will please come to order. This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of the city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of the board is final in respect that it does not go to the mayor or the city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse in a court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and the city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. Final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Darley?
Here.
Mr. Ferguson?
Here.
Mr. Graham?
Here.
Ms. Nevadas?
Here.
Ms. Powers?
Here.
Mr. Riggs?
Here.
Mr. Hennessy?
Here. Okay, I see where petition 2016-06 has been tabled. Has that been tabled by staff, or do you need some motion on that?
We do need a motion on that.
For those of you who are here, this is the property at 1635 East Cass Street. Motion would be in order.
I move to table. Second.
We have a motion and a second to table petition 2016-06 indefinitely. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevadas?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Okay, let's go back to any other requests from the agenda.
That is the only request from staff.
Okay, Jorge Garcia here? Mr. Garcia, okay, petition 2016-05.
Petition number 2016-05. The applicant is Jorge Garcia. He is the contract purchaser. Owner is the Britanelli Corporation. That's Scott and Cheryl Petrick. Location 1213 North Broadway. Their request is for a special use permit to allow an auto repair shop with new and used tire service in an existing commercial building. The petitioner is requesting a special use permit to allow an auto repair shop with new and used tire service at the subject location, which is the southwest corner of Broadway and Smith Streets. The site is in the Cunningham neighborhood. A special use permit to allow auto repair in an existing commercial building was approved back in 2015. However, the approval lapsed due to inactivity at the site. In January of 2014, the council denied a special use permit to allow an auto sales lot, again at this location. Under site-specific information, the property is located on a 14,000 plus square foot lot. The existing structure is just over 2,600 square feet, cement block. It is a former auto repair shop built on a slab in 1958. An addition was constructed in 1973, and there was another addition that was built in 1984. The site is Zone B3, and that's general business zoning. Under surrounding zoning, land use and character, to the north is commercial, Zone B3, and that's general business zoning. To the south is residential, Zone B3 as well. To the east is vacant residential, undeveloped and commercial uses, also all Zone B3. And to the west is single-family residential, zoned R2, single-family residential zoning. Applicable regulations are as noted. The Community Design Review Board discussed this at its monthly meeting, but there were no additional comments from other city departments, agencies, or public utilities. Under general discussion, the petitioner plans to conduct auto repair and tire service within the existing structure. The building includes an office area, work area, and bathroom. The business will need to comply with inspection division requirements regarding renovation of the building to accommodate the auto repair shop. The parking lot must comply with public works and inspections requirements regarding parking lot layout, traffic circulation, and the repair, replacement of deteriorated paving at the site. Staff recommends that a 6-foot-high wood shadow box style fence be installed along the west property line to screen the site from the adjoining residential neighborhood. The proposed used auto repair must be confined to the building interior. No outdoor vehicle or tire repair of any kind will be permitted. Outside display of tires is also not permitted. Vehicles awaiting repair shall not be stored long-term outside at the site. Likewise, vehicles which have been repaired shall not be stored long-term outside at the site. Adequate off-street paved parking for 10 cars should be provided at the site. A draft parking plan, I believe, is attached to your packets. Minimal on-site landscaping, as identified in a basic landscape plan, will need to be provided within 180 days of approval. Conditions: if the zoning board desires to recommend approval of the special use, the following conditions shall apply. That repair vehicles and tire service will be confined to the building interior. That vehicles awaiting repair will not be stored outside long-term. That vehicles which have been repaired shall not be stored outside long-term. That the improved paved parking lot surface must meet minimum paving standards per Joliet Public Works and the Building Inspections Division. That the site improvements conform to a submitted minimal landscape plan to be implemented within 180 days of approval. That a 6-foot-high wood shadow box style fence be installed, again, within 180 days of approval. The conditions list also includes the 180-day clause. In general, that the special use granted will terminate unless a building permit or certificate of occupancy is obtained no later than 180 days of approval. And finally, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation. And that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Sir, do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Can I have your name and address, please?
My name is Ryan O'Reilly. I'm with the law firm of Mike Hansen over at 735 Essington Road in Joliet here. Unfortunately, Mr. Hansen could not be here due to he's attending a funeral for a death in the family.
So what, you're representing the owners?
We are representing Mr. Garcia, the contract purchaser.
Okay.
And so basically, all I have to say is that we agree with the staff's recommendations. in the staff report.
Yeah, this has been bounced around for a while. I mean, it was approved once, and then it was denied once. Has the neighborhood been involved in this? And if I remember correctly, the last time we approved it and the council denied it. And the previous time, I believe it was approved, so.
Yeah. It's my understanding, I think there was some contact with the neighborhood regarding this proposal.
That's probably correct. I'm not sure, Mr. Hansen.
Okay. Okay.
Well, let me ask the board. Does the board have any questions?
I do have a question. Could you define long-term for me?
That's a very good question.
I mean, that's kind of an open-ended,
Yes. I don't know that I can define that right now. I guess my suggestion here would be to allow staff the time to talk to the potential operator to define that term. We need to understand what it is about their business in terms of how long a repaired vehicle would remain on the site before being picked up. And certainly, if there is a recommendation from the zoning board, we would have that defined before it went to council.
We could also put a limit on it, right? Like a 2-week limit outside?
You could, yes.
How much
Clear it up
experience does
today.
Mr. Garcia have in the business?
You know, unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that.
Do you know if he's had any previous locations in the area, or?
I also don't know that. I'm sorry. I'm sure we could easily find out.
maybe we should
Well,
table this till we get out some of
Yeah,
this
is there anybody
information?
here, I want to, does the staff have any more, or does the board have any more questions? I want to see if there's any objectors here. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? I swear you in, sir. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do. John Sheridan, President of Cunningham Neighborhood
Here we go,
Council. Your memory is correct, Mr. Chairman. The auto business was shut down by City Council, too small of a lot. It was approved for the same type of business just maybe about a year ago.
A year before
And it never
that.
took off. So it's a shame, but just about the same stipulations are in there. But with the tire business, that's now spelled out also, because we don't want to turn it into another Broadway and Hutchinson Street where a tire business is sitting all out front. So we were contacted by Mr. Hanson about this property. We appreciate working with our neighborhood about that. We have an owner of some property in that area now, also present in the audience, that's favorable of the business. We don't want it sitting there empty. The owners have tried to maintain the property, but with what you've put in there about the fence and so on and so forth, that should take care of the location. The discussion about long-term, about parking cars in there, was brought up also by a councilman of what long-term was at that point in time. They didn't want cars to be left over there for 2 or 3 weeks. You know, it's a situation of somebody drops off a car overnight, they work on it, and then with the family situation, may take a couple of days to pick it up. You know, might have to get the money or just be able to get a ride to pick it up. But I didn't really hear anything about a 2-week thing about long-term, leaving a car in the parking lot. But if
Well,
it
it's-
happened, it's
With
1
your
or 2
neighborhood
cars, it's
watch,
fine.
I'm sure if there were cars sitting out there, the city would be made aware of it. And-
Sure, yeah, but it's a situation where I don't think that's gonna be a problem, because number one, it's a small area.
Yeah.
We were more concerned back in the last petition that it wasn't like motors sitting out in the block, you know, in the back, because that was a real junkyard with that car lot situation. They had motors sitting in the back and abandoned cars that weren't operable and so on, but we don't anticipate that problem with this business here, or the prior petitioner that didn't materialize. So we're in favor of getting that building back up and running, so we'll
Okay.
support the business in our
It's
neighborhood.
nice.
Thank you for your comments.
Appreciate it.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone in opposition? I'll throw it back to the board. Do you have any comments?
I trust the man's judgment. If the neighborhood's spoken with the operator, I won't see a problem with it this time.
Anybody else have any
As
reservations?
long as they're okay with all the conditions.
Other than defining long-term, we should come up with a consensus on what long-term is.
Well, do you want to put a time limit on there? I don't know if that's necessary or not, but we could.
I certainly think 10 days is plenty of time.
10 days
Plenty
works
of
for
time.
me.
Actually, I'd go for a week, but I think 10 days would be,
All right, the chair's going to close the petition to the floor and ask the board for a vote. Someone wants to make a motion?
I'll move for approval with the attached conditions, including the 10-day time limit, if that's the way it works
Okay, we
out.
do have a
wait,
motion.
wait, before we go any further, does that mean now, Mr. Jackson, that anytime anybody comes forward with this long-term thing, that it will be, assume that it will always be, 10 days will mean long-term, or is that just for this, I mean, just for my own knowledge, is that?
I think it would cost the city just to go in and investigate it and keep the city aware of what's going on if there are violations.
Yeah, on basis of a complaint, we need some kind of a standard. What else?
Yeah, we could include that going forward as a standard.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Oh, I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve petition 2016-05, subject to the conditions as stated. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Ms. Nevadis?
Aye.
Ms. Powers?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. And thank you for your comments, sir. Okay, petition 2016-03, Race Property Group. Anyone here? Okay, let's hear that petition.
Petition number 2016-03. The applicant is Race Property Group, location 457 East Cass Street. The request is a series of variations. The petitioner is requesting variations to allow 2 main buildings on 1 lot on maximum allowed parking from 90 spaces to 75, and on a minimum allowed building setback line when adjacent to residential from 30 feet to 1 foot in order to construct a Checkers restaurant at the existing commercial site. The 1.4 acre site is Zone B3 General Business and currently contains a multi-tenant commercial building that is currently under renovation. This application was filed on December 17th, 2015, and tabled at the January 21st zoning board meeting at the request of the petitioner. Surrounding zoning land use and character to the north is residential and undeveloped R2 single-family residential zoning. To the south, commercial B3 general business zoning. To the east, commercial and residential with B3 and R2 zoning. To the west is commercial and residential, also with B3 and R2 zoning. Applicable regulations are as noted. There were no requests at the Community Design Review Board regarding this particular request. Under general discussion, the approval of the requested variations would allow the future construction of a standalone Checkers restaurant. The proposed plan will be very similar to the previously built Checkers restaurant at 1805 West Jefferson Street. The main difference in this proposal will be the change from a walk-up outside ordering window to an inside vestibule. This plan will also include a drive-through and an area adequate for outside dining if desired. The new building will meet all other relevant zoning code requirements as per city ordinance. There is a revised site plan and building plans were requested, but not received at the writing, as of the writing of this particular report. And that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
We
Name
didn't
and
receive it?
address?
Okay.
My name is David Mangurten, Mangurten. I'm an architect working on this project and representing the owner with offices at 1161 Lake Cook Road, Deerfield, Illinois. As is stated by staff, I mean, we've worked with staff to make this project work. And the reason for the delay was the negotiation with the franchisee. But the concept had to be approved by the franchisee and corporate. And staff had suggested that we look at the building on the west side of town and provide that architecture. And that's what the franchisee agreed to.
Okay. The drive-in is going to have exits and entrances where about on the property?
It's between the two buildings. You can enter either off Cassidy or Parks and circulate around the building counterclockwise.
The entrance on Cass would be where, right in the middle of the block?
Correct.
And on Parks, it would be where?
There's actually, I think, existing driveways that are there.
Where the existing driveway is?
Yeah, yeah.
And there would be no opening on
And
Cassidy then?
On
Now, the
on
opening
Cass.
is on Cassidy.
We're closing all as part of the renovation of the existing building, I think we plan on closing all the driveways on Cass.
Okay.
The revised site plan is a lot more orderly and well-defined than what existed there when we first got there.
But then you're opening up traffic to the neighborhoods, right? Both on Parks and Cassidy, yes?
Well,
I mean, would that mean more traffic on those streets? Because those are the
I think
streets that I
from a
would be.
planning
Mr.
standpoint, it makes sense to have your traffic not enter and exit along
Cass,
Cass,
yeah.
where if you were to go out there now, you'd see wide
No, I agree with
uncontrolled.
that. I have no problem with that at all.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, Jim, could you go to the aerial photo? It may be a little difficult to see on this map, but there is existing driveways on Parks, and also there is a drive on Cassidy. So I think the additional driveways would be on Cassidy, but the ability to exit and enter already exist on both streets.
What are the hours for Checkers?
I do not know, but I imagine it's going to be similar to the other fast food restaurants in the neighborhood. Our experience
Some
is that-
drive-throughs are open 24 hours a day. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, I see, okay. I can't answer that question.
Is that going to be subject to city ordinance, or does the city have
No,
any
there-
control over the hours?
No, we don't, there's no city limitations to hours of operation for a restaurant.
The restaurant across the street is open 24 hours.
It is.
Burger King, McDonald's.
Who are the other tenants in the buildings to the east?
There's Dollar Tree's taking the majority of the building, then there's T-Mobile is taking a small space, and then the existing liquor store is remaining. And there's one last space that I believe the owners have a tenant for. I don't know who it is.
Thank you.
But it's, I think, 1,000 square feet. It's a small user.
Do you have a problem with the hours?
I was just curious. I mean, if they're looking for a setback of 1 foot, which is adjacent to the residential area.
Explain
Yeah,
that setback. It's really more of an architectural thing. Jim, can you please show that elevation? I think it's the south elevation. Checkers has these wings as part of their branding, and they insisted that, and that was part of the delay. We ran into the issue of how you put the awning or wing, which is off to the west, against the property. So in reality, the building itself will be close to 12 feet away from the property line. It's the awning structure and the column that supports it. And that's what the 1 foot is.
right, and that's where the cars go through.
Where are you going to have the dumpsters and stuff for the garbage and
It's
stuff?
shown, it's between the two buildings,
Between the two buildings?
Yeah.
And they'll be enclosed.
yes.
Any other questions from the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Is anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition of the floor and asks the board for discussion and a vote.
Motion to approve.
Second?
We have a motion second to approve the petition. Please poll the board.
Ms. Nevadas.
Aye.
Ms. Powers.
I think it's too close, no.
Mr. Riggs.
Aye.
Ms. Darley.
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson.
Aye.
Mr. Graham.
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy.
Aye. Thank you, sir. All those in favor of approving the minutes of the last meeting signify by saying aye.
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 All those in favor of adjournment, so signify.
Aye.